Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is Sandfall Interactive's debut title and has easily grabbed the attention of many classic RPG fans for its modern and unique take on turn-based combat and real-time action elements. The game tells the story of a world terrorized by the Paintress, a mysterious entity who annually orders the death of those of a specific age. Every year, an expedition sets off on a desperate quest to confront the Paintress and break her deadly cycle, but so far, none have been successful. Now it's our turn as Expedition 33 to turn the tide and save the people from certain death. I have been extremely excited for this title ever since it was announced, so I'm sure you can imagine how excited I was when I found an early demo key in my inbox courtesy of Guillotine and Kepler Interactive. Before we dive into some aspects of the game in more detail, such as environments, combat, a world map, and story, I need to let you know just how much fun I had exploring this demo. I spent around 4 hours in the game, and not once did I feel like I had enough. I'd even go as far as to say I can see this be a Game of the Year contender. I got to explore 2 distinct environments in this demo, and oh my, was I absolutely mesmerized. I got to explore Spring Meadows and Flying Waters. Spring Meadows was filled with beautiful greenery, flowers, and lots of lighting, evoking all these feelings of hope and calmness, which served as a rather drastic contrast to what our expedition had been through just moments before. On the surface, this seems like a welcoming area, but the more you uncover, the more you see all the death and remnants of war across your path. Flying Waters, on the other hand, had a much darker feel visually, as it is set underwater, and as such the areas are much darker and feel more heavy. I've never seen an interpretation of an underwater area quite like this, so I was truly mesmerized the first time I set foot in Flying Waters. The game is an absolute feast for your eyes, and I couldn't stop being in awe over the environment I had just explored and the detail you can find in each area. Now, one thing that I know has gotten a lot of classic RPG fans super hyped was the existence of a world map that you'd navigate with your character before entering the next main area. Sandfall Interactive truly have done an outstanding job of translating such a classic concept into a modern version. The map itself is a beautifully drawn overview with markers on your next quest, whereas the world map gave me the feeling of clay animation, which I absolutely loved. The art style shines even on that level, and the fact that you can see items and enemies just sealed the deal for me. I want more games to make use of a classic world map in a modernized style like this. Whilst you're naturally more limited in your traversal whilst on the world map, the traversal inside specific areas though felt so smooth. Using your grapple to move across big gaps in a swoosh and using ropes made out of light to traverse up and down made me feel super badass. The main gameplay elements I got to explore during my time in the game were mainly focused on exploring all pathways to find more items and fight difficult enemies. There were special chests you had to unlock by finding and destroying 3 keys, which kinda brought God of War chests into my mind. The ones Kratos cannot just bash his fist through to open them. Plus, there were also some mini side quests which had me use my hard-earned platforming skills in order to find lost items for enemies who had turned pacifist. Those quests though had me wondering if we will find out more for each enemy I found, as it always gave me an option to leave them or attack them. A reward for sparing them all or destroying them all? We will have to wait for the full game to know for sure. Speaking of attacking enemies, let's focus on the combat. I was sold on the modernized turn-based combat the minute I saw it, but having actually had the chance to use it, I have to say it feels even better than it looked. You, your expedition, and the enemy or groups of enemies take turns in battle, which is determined on the left side of the screen, and trust me, it is worth studying the order of your characters and enemies' turn in order to most effectively plan your next move. In true turn-based fashion, once it's your turn, you have as much time as you need to decide what your next action will be. You can choose between using your skills if you have enough action points, use an item, take a shot, which works great for targeting weak points but does cost AP, and doing a basic attack. Now, unlike in classic turn-based RPGs, you don't have a dedicated option to defend, and this is where the real-time element comes into play the most, as you have to either dodge an attack, parry it, or for specific attacks, jump it. Let me tell you, timing on these is no joke, and I was playing on the normal difficulty where dodging and parrying isn't imperative, but When I did manage to master them, I felt like an absolute queen. Learning enemy attack patterns is key because you do want to get those parries in for those devastating counterattacks. You will also use real-time elements to enhance the potencies of your skills, so you better warm up your fingers for those quick-time events. What I personally really loved about the combat though is the strategic element of not only the choice of which skills your character has equipped, but also what pictos and luminas you choose. Pictos are essentially stat boosts, but they come with a special skill attached to them which your character can learn. For example, you can gain 3 AP upon defeating an enemy, which comes in super handy in battle. Once you've learned the skill, you can then equip it to any character via luminas. Each of your character has their own unique skill sets and strengths, and I found it super interesting to find out the best way to stack your skills in order to tackle the enemy ahead. And trust me, some of these enemies were tough. This comes all back full circle to when I said to you that you should study the order of how your characters will attack, as you could build on each skill used. I love turn-based combat, and I really fell in love with this modern take on it. It keeps the strategy aspect but brings in action that really got my heart racing. And on top of that, it just looks visually so stunning. And the music, oh my god. The battle music was phenomenal and really hyped me up at times, which was such a lovely contrast to the more mellow music throughout the world in different areas. In fact, I have to say, the music initially reminded me a lot of Lies of P, and I absolutely adored that. Finally, the story. The story was something that really intrigued me when we were first presented with the concept of the Paintress and her determining people of a specific age to perish. The premise of a group of brave and hopeful people venturing off in order to stop their fate whilst also looking to understand why and what is happening is something that grabbed my interest, and I must say that throughout my 4 hours with the game, I felt like I didn't learn much more about what's exactly going on. But I didn't mind that at all. For me, it was so captivating to get to know the characters and their motivations and learn more about previously failed expeditions that I simply want more. I want to know more and understand this world they travel to and how it is all connected to the Paintress. The voice acting is absolutely phenomenal, which is obviously no surprise when you look at the star-studded casts like Charlie Cox as Gustav, Jennifer English as Maëlle, and Kirsty Ryder as Lune.
As long as even one of us stands, our fight is not over.
But I'm not afraid to fight, it's just Maëlle, she's...
Maëlle swore the same oath.
I know that!
She chose her life. You and I... Come on, we always said the future of Lumiere is more important than
any individual life, yes.
Do you still believe that?
I can already tell this game's story is going to hit me in the feels, and I cannot wait for that. This is one of the titles I am most excited for this year, and I am speechless at how polished this game is, considering this is a debut title and for some of the dev team, even their first ever title they worked on. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 releases on April 24th, and you can bet that it will devour all of my spare time until I finish this masterpiece. I am already so excited, and I cannot wait for the full game. What about you? Are you excited? What's the thing that you are most intrigued by? Please let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching this first video on this new channel that I've made, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again to Kepler Interactive and Guillotine for this early review key to Clair Obscur Expedition 33.